They know very well. After all, sometimes also, they know that is the security chiefs that know what they are doing and all that. It concerns the security, which should be very much secret. Yet they still go ahead and invite them. And before them, they will iron out certain plans they have for security, which of course is supposed to be very exclusive to them on the behest of the president. But they come and they state everything before the House of Representatives and the Senate. For me, I think both Malami and the House of Representatives should know that the Constitution belongs to Nigeria. So, you know, if you remember when they talk about budget padding and all that, my problem has been that both of them will be foot dragging, both federal government, the executive, and the legislators will be foot dragging in going to court. Because I know very well from infancy, that's where interpretation of the legal issues belong. Now, in this quagmire now, it is a quagmire where Malami is saying no, it doesn't, and then the House is saying no. Nobody knows exactly the truth. Maybe they'll start bickering. Should it be that those in opposition are in the majority? That you would have seen strenuous quarreling now. But I think the court will handle it very easily with clarity, utmost clarity at that. That yes, the president look at their summons means this, or they are trying to usurp your position, and so you did well in not going. But as it stands now, for me, I think the legislators are elected by the people as much as the president, and they have duties. If they invite him before them to explain, it's just a matter of giving them the clue as to what is going, how far you've done, look at what you project to do and all that. The people are not wrong in saying that their mind is worried because of the incessant killings of Nigerians. So how far have you gone? But if Malami is saying that, no, the president should keep a lead to that particular sort of information, well, so it should be. But who will make Nigerians wriggle out of this complexity of not knowing exactly which way to go? It is the court. Can they visit the court? That is left for them.
Manuel, got your thoughts here. Wodi Chimenem, who thankfully is still here with us, will also chip in his bits. Wodi Chimenem, go ahead.
There have been a lot of higgledy-piggledy in terms of the interpretation of laws in Nigeria. And these have been muzzled up by the kind of enactment that we made. Sometimes I look at law as not being, sacrosanct. The holiness that should be attached in our legal system has been, desecrated by so many interpretations. And that is why when you go to court today, you will see a lot of motions for interpretation, all in the name of having a precedent. And most precedent today, whether you like it or not, like the one in Imo State, I'm sure is yet to be a precedent, because you can see the emergence of us or Dimma. Some of us that are lawyers are still in the dream waters, where a man who never came third, all of a sudden, I don't know how he did it, but it was a magic wonder. So if you look at the the legal industry, you will see that it has been hijacked. And so far, lawyers are not even, trying. Those of us that we should be, some of us that are still, still baby within the industries, are still looking at people that are supposed to tell us this is how it should be. Now, when you look at that section 88 by resolution and section 1 sub 3, where the law said that every other laws, and section 3 section 1 sub 3 of the 1999 constitution, the section 1 sub 1 said that the constitution of Nigeria is what? Supreme. It means that no every other law, no any other law, no group of persons, sub 3, can usurp that power of section 1. Now, this is where it becomes more persuasive for Malami to have known that, for the simple fact that the section 1 has clearly spelled it out, that we, the people of Nigeria, and it goes to spell out the autonomy of the constitution, that nobody is above the law. Now, by virtue of section 88, you will see that if you just oppose it, you will see that they are almost not really the same, but by the same pronouncement of that law, which is the ground norm, that by the resolution of the assembly, they can invite. And remember, like I said, the assembly, the parliamentarians, whether you like it or not, are one of the arms of government. And these are the arms that you can't jettison in any of the nation for we to get it right. Because once you start desecrating the industry of the parliament, of course there will be skirmishes. I have said it, whether it is written or unwritten, these are conventions that have been on. And we have been following it from the progeny of Nigeria legal system. You will see that it has been there from time immemorial. In fact, when matters of urgency comes up, it is the right of president for him to present himself and say, look, let me address the nation. But because of the lackadaisic kind of the complexity of complacency of our kind of legal system and the kind of leadership we have in Nigeria, some of them don't want to even address. In America, if anything happens, one person dies, the president would address the nation. We saw what happened, the Black life. You have to address the nation for the people to know that there is a leadership. But as I speak to you, there is quasi kind of leadership in all strata of this administration. And it's a problem. Sometimes we keep asking, and that is why the likes of Plato and Socrates will say, let the righteous rule. People that understand, let them rule. And so what does it take for Mr. President to come and speak to the nation? Is it that they can write it for him? We know they've been reading in Africa. President in Africa reads. They should write it. And better still, by 1 week, he may be acquainted with it. What is the problem to address the nation? That 100 persons, more than 100 persons, because if we are to follow CNN, because we are yet to get a counter to what CNN gave us, because with what they have told us, there's a prima facie case, and there has not been any counter, even though the likes of Lai Mohammed who want to come with all the centers, but we're not convinced as citizens. They have come out to tell us so many persons died. And like I said, who are these parliamentarians? They are representatives of each constituencies. And there is a likelihood, and by law, they are answerable to people in their constituencies. And people are saying people have died. Ordinarily, can Mr. President empathize? Is it enough to say we condemn? Why not come out to the assembly and say, look, this is the position of the state. This is what we want to do. This is the next thing we want to do. And in what crime? Is it a crime for Mr. President to address this nation? So I think when you look at Section 1, it has been abused. And with the character of Mr. President, you will know that it has been jaundiced. So what is the problem? Is it that he can't come? So I think I'm beginning to look at what one man said. I will not call his name. I will not call the man's name now.
What did he say?
That the leadership of this country, that we are yet to understand if we are having the kind of person we are having as a leader. So I think there is a problem. There is a problem. Because when people die, look at what happened. When one American man, just a citizen of America, was kidnapped. You saw what the American intelligence did. They came here. SWAT came here. And that same team came in here at the wee hours of the night, even though we are claiming that there was a consent. They came here and rescued one citizen. And Trump took it. Within that week, he was eulogizing those groups, not American battalions, just 6 SWAT men who understood what it means to be a citizen. So I think there is no relationship between the Nigerian state and the leadership. Because ordinarily, that assembly member who felt that, ordinarily they would have kept quiet, even though I don't even trust the kind of night assembly that we have. Like I said, it's a weak assembly. But haven't come out to know that they have to rise to their responsibility by virtue of that Section 8 that Oketinda was able to point out. You see that it's absolutely clear. Res ipsa loquitur. Can they resolve and invite? Babangida came. So many of them have been coming to the house. During budget, did it take Mr. President 1 minute to come and present his budget? Did it take him 5 minutes to present other bills that are likely to benefit, he is likely to benefit from? So what way are we going to in this country? Do we have to argue? Do we have to file a motion to Supreme Court to interpret if the president must come? So I think I would suggest, if the assembly is listening, some of them don't have radio, but let me suggest, because I know they have representative, that they should subpoena him. They can use to subpoena testificandum. They can go to court and file a motion for interpretation. It's just unnecessary. If you look at that Section 1 and Sub 3, you will see the law is clear. That no group of persons, the Constitution spelled out the principle of constitutionalism, which is that nobody is above the law, that we are under the law. And by the principle of the autonomy of the Constitution, the president is not above the law. And that is where the issue of sacred car comes in. So I think it's just, I feel penitent for this country. Are we supposed to argue it? Do we have to cite all the sections in the constitution? The conventions are there. Ordinarily, it's not even supposed to be conscripted. The president would have come out and said, look, I want to address the nation. It's not enough to condemn and say, look, people are dying on daily basis, and these are people you have sworn oath to protect. I am embarrassed. Right. In fact, he's not my president.
Oh, I've got your thoughts on that. And Ruben is the junior.
It's a big one. It's a shame that those who were elected have decided to dance naked in public, and in turn giving us a very huge embarrassment. I don't know, like I said earlier on, the group of persons. This is one case we have heard for a long time now, that the cabals in the villa has taken over the government. And when it comes, people will always downplay it. But this is a good case to show that there is indeed a tussle among the cabal. And I believe strongly that the same set of persons, after this invitation or summon to the president was made public, 3-4 days, he gave consent to it. I believe that as at that point, the group of cabals he sat with deemed it necessary that he should come and address the nation in respect to the security case that is being worsening on a daily basis. And then I also feel that getting close to the day he is supposed to appear, another set who do not see it necessary that the president should address the insecurity state of the nation also gave him another wrong advice. And I don't know if this group of persons who gave him the last minute advice that resulted in this U-turn, I don't know if they have the interest of Nigeria at heart. I don't know where constitutional requirement comes in for the president to appear. And talking about what the Attorney General was speaking, I asked myself, what is secret there of which the president has made it open when he had meeting with the 36 state governors? He gave them the same thing he was supposed to go to the house. It's almost the same thing he made open there. He gave them his security strategies and what he has done so far and what is to be done. So I don't know. I believe what came out today in the social media, let me just be frank, if you go on Twitter now, you see the real truth. The lawmakers are divided. They don't know when the interest of the country comes first and when the interest of party comes. Now there's some group of persons have believed that the president appearing before the lawmakers will be embarrassed. Meetings were held few days ago. Different meetings were held in the chamber, in different offices. So that resulted to some of the APC lawmakers having this perception that, oh, if the president comes, maybe he's not too good in speaking. Maybe he might not be having good memories of where, because nobody will be speaking for him there. There will not be Lai Mohammed there. There will not be Femi Adesina there. Neither there will be, what's his name, the other man, Garba Shehu. He will be defending right there before the lawmakers. And you know what happened? I remember in the 7th Assembly, I remember vividly there was a time the former president Goodluck Jonathan was invited and couldn't make it for some reasons, not like this one. He sent the former minister of finance, Professor Okonjo Iweala, to attend, and I watched that vividly. I saw how some planned APC lawmakers then who defected from PDP to APC embarrassed the former minister, and she replied. It was almost a verbal war. And I think that some of the lawmakers from APC and the cabals who gave him this last minute advice must have felt that these meetings that PDP caucus were holding was to come out with some things that might not be too easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that they're thinking that way, because the PDP caucus was already saying they need to impeach the president.
Yeah, it's not. I'll comment.
No, I'm not saying it might be far from it, but the truth remains that he is not going there for these same reasons.
We can't tell, because anybody can be staging and planning anything.
I believe impeachment has to do with at least 2/3 of the number of the House.
And if you're not sure whether you don't have 2/3,
of course they have.
That's what I say. If you're not sure that you have APC members, doesn't mean that entire APC members are going to be in agreement. So you can't be too sure.
Yeah. But on the long run, even if they cited such things to take place today, it wouldn't have been a total boycott. He would have been best for him to have sent somebody to even represent him, even if it is the the military man, Buratai, to brief the nation, to brief the members concerning what they have done so far. It is not giving Nigerians what we are to do to enhance the insurgents with what we want to do against them. It is briefing them. Friend, we have applied for loan.
we have gone for this. We want to a social country to buy arms, but we couldn't. Just give us a brief knowledge and also sympathize with the 40-something persons, although now that's a figure. But I know it is more than that.
We'll stick with the 43. Thank you very much.
You see, my position is very clear that I am thinking that the president is not above the law and could indeed go for that invitation. However, except those that are fully abreast with the laws of the land, as those having the, maybe I call them the legal minds, everybody will now be sitting on the fence because Malami quoted a part of Constitution. Now these other people in the house are also quoted a part of the Constitution. So which one is the correct one? We must remember where Malami is hinging his argument, that this is a security issue. And in that piece you read, he said that the president could voluntarily avail himself to the house and explain things. Yes, but here he has not, because he was invited. And he's on security, so Malami is saying no. He is the only person that has right to know these kind of things. And so you're inviting him, breach, according to him, that part of the Constitution. And these people are saying no. How do we know? The courts are there. So I think, and again, let us look at politics. Because always I say it's politics that is killing Nigeria. Now, it seems, according to Ruben, I remember exactly that incident of Okojiwala going to the house or so, and what happened. Was it prepared? Was it a full knowledge of everybody that the opposition members will embarrass Okojiwala? You can now see the tangibility of the reason, the reasonableness of the reason they are giving, the suspicion that he might be embarrassed by the PDP people. After all, they had even called for his impeachment. So for me, whatever be the case, let them head to the court and give us explanation.
And I think it won't be right putting the cat before the horse. The obviousness of the weakness of a man could be seen through his character. I think over time, the issue of security may be under the exclusive list. Now, this is a matter that is being a matter of national interest, because it has to do with human life. Now, like I said, if it is a country like Belarus and other countries where president at this point of time, the process of instituting impeachment would have taken place, because ordinarily life have been taken, and when you have been taken, if you look at the Oath Act at this point in time, it is, like I said, it's a life wire. Security has to do with the life wire of every nation. If you look at how Armenia was able to be defeated, you will know that at a point the president was spit at by his constituents. Now, at this point, when you look at what is going on, it looks as if the security architecture of Nigerian system, it's being collapsed by those that are, I call, weak people, those that have been long overstayed within the military hegemony. And that is why the characters, citizens are saying, look, Mr. President, he could classify most of the information. It can be done off camera. Journalists can be, kept off camera.
But I think that in the case, for me, the places that he felt were too sensitive for even the legislators to know about. Since yes, the Constitution empowers him with exclusivity to this information, even if he failed. Because when we're talking about Boko Haram, the former president, remember, he said he has someone in his cabinet. Yeah. So, you might not know who you're divulging certain information to, and they need to hold certain things to your chest. Yeah. So, I think that when he was getting to that point, he noticed, I can't even share this with you. He would say, well, I can't tell you how we're going to engage the armed forces on this particular issue. But this is what we've done in the past. I have sent them to this place. This is what they have achieved so far. Yeah. I have sent them to that place. They have achieved this much. This is what we're discussing over these issues. You don't need to get to the nitty-gritty. This is what I believe.
Thank you.
You don't need to get to the nitty-gritty. You could avoid certain things. There's a need for you to show that you are with the people. You have to show you're with the people.
I'm happy you are now.
I've never been out of line. Now, I don't know that you're the one that's coming to line. I never even had a
let me agree with you. Now, what I'm saying is that a man whose interest is on this nation, who understands what national interest is all about, who understands how to commiserate with the people when it comes to times like this. Because if not for anything, if not for the administrative negligence, ordinarily we are supposed to be flying the raising down the flags. How do they put it? We're supposed to be lowering the and giving a mini silence to those people, or mourning them for 1 week in a Senate climb where democracy is well strengthened. So I at this point there are in philosophy there's what we call avoidance and doubt. There are ways you can raise issues and you use euphemism to make it won't heighten a lot of tension. So I think there is a poor understanding. That's why I said the president is not abreast. The man is in Nigeria, but it looks as if he's in Niger. And that is why most of us, we are angry. We are angry because the informant, the likes of Lai Mohammed, who told the Togo of lies from one place to another, may not want to tell him the truth. And you can even delegate it to Adeshina. Delegated authority, you can delegate this to Lawal. They are all their spokesperson. You can even do it to your essay on media matters.
To be embarrassed.
Not to... What? That is it.
But at least you said somebody
that is what democracy entails. Trump has been embarrassed many times. I wonder if you want to compare the president of Nigeria to America. They have been there for a very long time. Do you understand what it means?
Trump is ready for embarrassment every minute.
The president must be ready for embarrassment. Nobody forced him. He said he will lead Nigeria, that he wants to be the president of this country. So he must be ready to accept the tantrums of Nigeria. After all, when Jonathan was there, he became a piece of wrapper. At the point they called him a woman. Let him go there as a man and answer the people. Let him go there as Kiliwi and talk to the people.
What's Kiliwi?
Kiliwi Wachuku is a boxer. He's the strongest. Let him go there as a Gandoki because we all believed him. So and you can see the way Nigerians were, the people that voted him in were praising him. This is a time for him to come out and show his manship. He was there during the Civil War. He led some of the troops to Port Harcourt. I read about this, General Buhari. So I think he should come out and put on his military wares. We want him to be on military uniform. People are dying. Let him come and address the assembly. Are the assemblies, are they soldiers? Are they immortal? Let him go and address them. That's the essence of democracy. They will ask him questions and you have to answer. That is the essence. The essence of Section 1 sub 3 has been defeated by not presenting himself to the assembly. Apart from the Section 88 that Kingsley is citing, this Section 1 sub 3, the president has assumed to be a sacred person and who is above the law. And I'm sure those of us who are watchers of democracy will not allow it.
All right. Well, this is a really sad turn of events because to have a president, so to say, who is the leader of all the people, and we have incidents of insecurity. Even the governors. He had a meeting with the state governors. So he knows that this issue of insecurity is rife. It's not even just necessarily that of the massacre of 43 rice farmers in Zabamari. There's also that pulse that we need to do something to check insecurity. And I felt that at the behest of that he would say, as long as it has to do with insecurity, I will come there. And I will speak about what I and my cabinet are doing concerning that. I will speak about the agenda that we've set before us in order to check this issue of insecurity. But to just stick with, I won't come and tell you what the armed forces are doing because you don't have privy to that. And you can't summon me. So is it an invitation? And then yet they're all quoting different parts of the Constitution that allows them to take the actions they can. And I really don't know which part of the Constitution will say the National Assembly can't summon the president when they need him to. I don't think that the Constitution will say that. I said no, you can't call him ever.
No.
I think there should be reasons where they'll say if the House comes to do some resolution, if this number of people within the House come to do so, then he has to come.
Hence there is a quorum. They don't need a quorum to invite Mr. President.
The legislators are the champions of democracy.
They are the law. They are the law.
They are the true representatives of the people. And you are there as the leader for the people. You would think that every now and then you want to engage them and tell them, it's not only when you bring the budget, every now and then, this is what I'm doing. As I said,
if there is a strong...
As long as you say you will speak to the journalists about these things, they at least speak to the legislators.
If we have strong parliamentarians at this point...
Legislators.
Legislators, they would have institutionalized his impeachment.
It's 11:35. You're echoing the sentiments of PDP, obviously.
No,
11:35.
No, this is the general sentiment.
No, it's not the general sentiment.
It is.
No, it's not general.
No, it is.
It's not general.
We
have not conducted. We've not conducted a.
There is a referendum.
No,
like this.
where?
And
Show me now.
You know what we do in Nigeria is to my calling is to ensure that.
Which calling?
Which calling? Is a calling.
What? I know you're calling. Calling. I know you're calling personally. So no, don't even go there. All right, let's open the phone lines already. 11:36, so we can take response to the issue that we have been talking about, and that is on the constitutional back and forth on this matter, constitutional crisis on whether the president can be summoned by the National Assembly and should be summoned by the National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, because I mean the Senate has said, look, wow, they've washed their hands out of.
Some of them have become pontious.
They washed their hands. They said, this has nothing to do with us, really. It wasn't a joint assembly matter. It was the House of Reps. If you have anything to ask, go to House of Reps and ask them. It has nothing to do with the Senate. As far as we're concerned,
look at Lawal and
we didn't invite the president. All right, then. And on whether the National Assembly has the powers to summon the president, they said we'll review that statement and get. You don't know? You have to go review.
That is the kind of administration we have.
Oh Lord. 0810-951-0951 or 0817-000951. Those are the numbers to get you into the studio. Let's get your thoughts on these, or you can send us an SMS or a WhatsApp post. Send it to 0701-933-9962. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. Hello. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. Well, still couldn't get through to both. Please do call back if you can. 0810-951-0951 or 0817-000951. Madam Annie, concerning this presidential invitation, there's something they don't want to tell. They're only trying to shield the president, who will not know what to answer concerning what is happening in the country. Even Shakal knows the military strategy better than Buhari, that has been killing the soldiers by invading their camps. So what are they hiding? And again, he does not want to change the service chiefs Nigerians are clamoring for. Leave the president to sleep. That's from Ima. Morning, Annie. A great disconnect between elected leaders and electorates. How can this be fixed? When will it be fixed? Who will fix it? Why is this happening in my country? The constant embarrassment is overwhelming. Is change of citizenship an option? Really? Good morning, Annie. Ogaima, the guest. I know very early yesterday before dawn that the president wouldn't honor the invitation. The president actually wanted to go, but he was prevailed upon from going in the APC NEC meeting that held on Tuesday night. They know they failed woefully in the area of security, and the president will be embarrassed if he attends. I heard it from an Abuja-based radio station. This is from Francis Osas from Rukboku. Good morning, Annie and the guests. This Friday, Olu in Choba. Annie, who summons the summoner? The UK practices unwritten constitution where the cabinet members doubles as parliamentarians. So the issue of summon and no summon does not arise. The US ab initio has it explicitly enshrined in theirs as one of the functions of the president. Is this the case of Nigeria? Malami is absolutely correct. Again, hasn't the president been appearing before the NAS? Let's sit and craft our own variant of the so-called liberal democracy. In Africa, we respect elders. So in respecting elders, you will not check incidents that have need for you to look into, because you're respecting elders. Okay. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, this is Mr. Sa. Good morning, Chief Indukra and the guests in the studio. Annie. Hello, Annie.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Annie, you see, in as much as these our lawmakers have been dreaming, however, their dream is not a good one anyway. It's the kind of malaria dream, not the type of Joseph dream. Then when you look at it very deviously about what they are saying, it seems that they don't understand even what they read from the Constitution. They are quoting that the Constitution permits them to invite anyone and investigate anyone. But they fail to understand from the one Malami is quoting that the Constitution does not warrant Mr. President as the Commander-in-Chief to disclose security issues publicly. So, why should they now be...
So why can't he go there and not describe security issues in details? What stops him from doing that?
In detail, in which manner, when he's not to disclose it publicly?
He has disclosed certain strategies of the military before. It's not the first time. So I'm saying if there are certain sensitive parts he did not want to disclose, he had every right to go back to the smaller thing. Come and see your people. Are they not in the different constituencies in Nigeria?
See, if there's a rot in the head, of course it will affect
That's
the
what I'm saying. The immediate head we are seeing closer to us is that of the legislators.
It's a classical example of a failure from the presidency.
I think what they needed to have done, what they need to do is go and speak to their constituents.
You're right.
The constituents will also tell them that this massive failure, you can't take it. This is our direction to you. Go and do so in the house. Discussing it in media and Chimene quoting more than Malami Isan is not the solution. National Supreme Court for interpretation.
Simple.
They always shy away from. This is from Stan. I agree with Stan.
Yes.
Hello, Today95.1 FM. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Annie.
Yes, morning, ID. Good to have you. Go ahead.
Thank you. You see, I agree to get in the studio. You see, these are one of the things I told you that thing called constitution should be thrown into the waste bin and have a people's constitution. If we don't have a people's constitution, we'll be having all these contradictions, having all these arguments. It's quite unnecessary that the National House of Assembly will invite Mr. President to come and appear and tell us what is happening with the security architecture that leads to the death of so many persons in a rice farm, even insecurity in the country. And somebody will sit there as appointee of the president, as the Attorney General of the Federation, to tell us that the president cannot appear. Can you just imagine the nonsense? Now, if the National House of Assembly now decided to impeach him, they cannot. For the fact that the person who will head the impeachment, who will conclude the impeachment, is the citizens of the Federation. Mm-hmm. Yes, and the citizens of the Federation is the appointee of Mr. President. So how will he really attend to a situation where Mr. President will be impeached? This is one of the things I said they should throw that constitution away.
All right, then. I think we got your thoughts. Throw the constitution away for you is the answer. Hello, today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
And was it network issue?
Who is this?
Yeah, this Mr. Sam. The thing caught when I was
Mr.
speaking.
Sam, go ahead.
So you see, Annie, in as much as that constitution, they, even when Jonathan was on speed, and after he left office, the National House of Assembly demand for him to appear on that chamber. He did not appear, and the head did not open. Yeah. And these same lawmakers, we have been asking what is their salary. That even several have taken them to court just for them to come out and tell us what their salary is all about.
Is that why Mr. President shouldn't come out?
Now that the president is being fully backed up by the constitution, that he come on and disclose the security issue publicly, is that what we will now begin to cry?
We have to cry.
Down and expect the head to open and swallow somebody. So the truth is that the president is right on point. Let the lawmakers also begin to answer to us before they will begin to call on Mr. President to answer to them. People do not now be claiming that these people are now representing us, of which in time past the day, they have not shown any sign of representing us, whether it has been their selfish kind of interest and gain that they have been doing in that chamber. So they should go and sit down.
Okay.
And allow me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, I was trying to take that call real quickly, but we did lose that call. Call back again if you can. This here says, Moses says it's proper for the president to reassure us on the security of lives and properties. Tell Mr. Wardy that the votes the president got in 2019 is more than the votes of all the lawmakers put together. Can the Rivers House of Assembly invite Governor Wike on curfew and killings in Oyibo? I guess not. Annie, for correction, Okonjo-Iweala was not embarrassed. She was asked questions on the state of economy. She rather embarrassed them with economist indices and ratio, which most of them cannot understand. Good morning, all. Section 1, subsection 3 of the 1999 CFRN as amended This constitution is supreme and its provisions shall have a binding force on persons and authority throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 33, subsection 1, human life is to be sacrosanct. The president swore to the constitution to defend. The presidency, Mr. President, should go and address the NAS or resign. Shame on Malami. Shame on APC. Well, who is this person who didn't send a name? So we know where to direct. Annie says, honestness speaking, something is seriously wrong with Asovilla. Ngogo Clinton, Neji. Send this from Okechi Iche. Madam Annie, what happened to past administration's presidential chats with renowned journalists? Is this government different from others? UAOE send that in. I'm Chidi Okpalaku, son of the soil. Okay, that's the guy who sent the shame on Malami, shame on APC. Chidi, son of the soil, we hear ya. All right, one more call and then we have to go. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. Okay, there's still time. Hello? Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Let me say good morning to my friend in the studio. My name is Chizi.
Good morning, Barrister Chizi, my friend. You are supposed to be sleeping. Or in court now.
Okay. The problem we have in Nigeria is that the comparison in politics has always made the government not always do what ordinarily they are supposed to do. Like somebody has called to say whether can Rivers State House of Assembly summon Governor Wike. Problem is that if Rivers State House of Assembly cannot summon Governor Wike, then which other power do they have? However, I want to ask Barrister Chimlewore precisely. If the National Assembly does not have the power to summon Mr. President, which other power do they have? Now, the reason is very obvious. The problem we have in Nigeria is that Mr. President is the only office that cannot be impeached in Nigeria. The reason is President has the discretion to dissolve National Assembly in the case he sees that there is an emergency situation. It's a constitutional matter. So how then can anybody query him? You can't impeach Mr. President. So if they want to impeach President, they should amend that particular section that gives the President the power to dissolve the National Assembly. Until that particular section is amended, the President can do anything and get away with it. So this discussion, we only discuss it to the extent that we are discussing it, and not that any positive thing can come out of it. If Jonathan did this, Buhari is doing the same thing. Any other person will borrow leave and do the same thing. For Nigerian president, he has more power than any other president in the history of the world. So,
I fought you.
Okay, all right.
In the case of incompetency, the president can be, at that point, the president can be impeached. Where he is, in the case of lunacy, what we call lunacy and all the rest, the president can be impeached. And where there is high level of incompetency, the president can be impeached. And the religion of duty, administrative duty, the assembly can. And under the Oath Act, I'm sure the young man is driving. Maybe he may be going to the next state now. I know how he may have not listened to us very well. Yeah. So the president can be impeached. Okay. There is the power of impeachment is enshrined in the Constitution. So I'm sure my brother have been reading Bible or all this thing. And
what have you been reading? All right, for me, if the lawmakers visit their constituency monthly and ask the people their problems and take it back to the House to debate, it will go a long way, like those security hit areas. Ernest from Woji again. Good morning, Annie and the gentleman in the studio. Annie, I've seen the reason why you don't blend with Mr. Sam. Henry from Rumor Massive. I don't understand how blend how.
Blending how? They should go for party or what?
You said I should extend this program to 12 noon. I'm already doing that, really. Nigeria is on free will, seems to be moving without direction. Different government arms and agencies singing discordant tunes. No one seems to be in charge. What's there to be proud of in this country? What we get is ridicule, ridicule, ridicule. That's from Mark. And then Oyiboy Baye, Michael. He said, Arnie, this development has embarrassed us all. I think the rep should get the punishment for it if they fail to deploy whatever the Constitution allows them to do to get the president to sit up. The so-called cabal in the APC have continued to behave as if Nigeria starts and ends with this government. But I think they're wrong, and the APC should be treated like the Edo people did to Adams Oshomole when he became a mini-god in his head. Same happened to many parliamentarians in Ghana yesterday for failing to do their jobs. This here says, it's very, very sweet now for us to say the president should come. Remember, Mr. President took oath to protect life and property, so the governor of River State took the same oath here in River State. People have been dying in River State. Governor Wiki has not been invited by the River State House of Assembly. This is from TNTN. And like I said, it is not even because of the issue of Boko Haram alone that the president was invited. Insecurity is rife across the nation, and they needed to speak about that. What prompted that was the beheading of the 43 farmers in Zabamari.
103 or 140.
43.
No, we have to rely on CNN.
Not right, because CNN
that's what I'm relying on.
Don't worry. Well, you can rely on CNN. Nothing is wrong with the Constitution. Every arm of government has the carrot and stick. It's just that the reps know that they're incapacitated. Going to court for interpretation is just a waste of time. Nothing to interpret. The law is clear. Leo from Port Harcourt. I mean, I'm thinking going to the court for interpretation. Malami is already Minister of Justice.
He's the AG, and they are holding the.
They will manipulate.
I
don't know whether it's a knowledge or what.
Jeff AA says, Annie, I want to remind you what my president told you, Andy Akpotive, that if the president comes and again will not read the paper, he will give you anything you asked. A man that is not fit is not fit. The best they can do is to make excuses for him. Annie, can your PMB sit and ask questions for 1 hour? Yes, my PMB can.
They can.
Yes, my PMB can. Now that I've answered you, what next?
Who is that?
Jeff AA. He says it's better not to give us more public disgrace of answering a miss. This here says, Annie, I know you're tired of Mr. Sam, but you have to deal with it or you resign. Political sentiments has finished us. I fear for this country. Ika Israel from Port Harcourt. I am not tired of Mr. Sam. Nope. I just have a problem with the way he calls my name. But I noticed that other people enjoying. In fact, they formed a group and said those of us that listen to the show just to hear one man call Annie. So, I mean, other people get excited about that, so I have no problem with it. It's just I would like him to just go ahead and say, Annie, good morning, and get straight to what he has to say. But he has to sing with my name each morning. So that's the part that bores me like terrible. But it's Mr. Sam, okay, so I have no problems with that. And no, I'm not resigning. I'm here. And then boy Michael says, Annie, this develop. Okay, I think you said it a second time. Nas could have invited the presidency, which has taken the place of the president nowadays. Anyway, maybe that's how they do in Saudi Arabia. Udom Friday, you send that in. Good morning, Annie. If the National Assembly can't, let them impeach the president already. All Chinda does is complain and whip up sentiments. The honorable guest in the studio sounds swayed by the complaints. Lol, Chimenem is a bad guy. This is who says my name is AKP.
And he went and read it out.
I did read it out. He's a bad guy. Nigeria is on free will. Seems to be, I think, this is from Mark. I read that as a text message earlier. Annie, the president can't stand the embarrassing questions he'll be faced with by the PDP boys in the house. He has already seen the danger, so he's trying to apply caution. Weke Chamberlain, you said that in. Good morning, Annie. The president, even if he doesn't want to appear before the House, should be at least seen to be working. Not using this opportunity to address Nigerians shows the presidency, whoever they are hiding a lot of things from us. Okay, Chuku from Owerri, you send that in. Another here says, I doubt if the president has a mind of his own, otherwise they won't be toasting him around. Hello, Today 95.1 FM.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name?
Yes, I meant good news from Port Harcourt.
All right, good news. Good to have you. Go ahead.
Yes, Ifema and my brother man, I greet you in capital letters.
Good news, make out.
Really.
He said make out.
Really. If you ask me, I think that the right thing to be done, we must not bring in politics in everything we do. The National Assembly ought to have the power to summon Mr. President, I use the word, they ought to have the power to summon Mr. President on any issue they think they are not satisfied with. They are the people who voted into office. Now, instead, when the president, they have the power to ask him questions, including security questions. Now, it is left for the president to talk to him. When it comes to security issue, you may decide to say, okay, let that be on security issue, I will keep it pending. Issue, let us have a closed door meeting. Now, the information will not go out. But in as much as it is security issue, that is that we must not get them, and they do understand. But some little issues, I can address this. But having said that, I think that I'm still having problem with the National Assembly. Instead of them to talk about how to become the president, because all these things are based on voting and voting, depends who will become president. They should talk on how to ensure that election matters. Election matters does not stay above one, and every technicality that makes somebody sit as president or governor to be taken away so that judges should judge straight for issues and divorce the matters. We will not, people who are voting for Annie, we will not have the text and the National Assembly to start the State Assembly to defend anything that.
All right, then.
Can that Assembly tell government to come and stand? No, you cannot say it.
Right,
and
then.
again, for number one, I expect you as a barrister to open up the constitution that says that they have to come on. I remain good from Port Harcourt.
Thank you so much. Got your thoughts there. And that is where we have to wrap up on the show this morning. This here says, Annie Chinda that is shouting, did he know that the borehole he did as a constituency project at Rumolu for over 8 years after the commission has stopped working? Chimenem knows what I'm saying, so can trust him.
Leader of the House.
What does he want to talk about?
It's concerning it's concerning.
Enacted bylaws and have been assented into law by the chairman of local government. Not just that, another 6 have equally been passed into law waiting for assent. And these are verifiable bylaws that were held various public hearings that was covered by AIT to showcase to the people of entire NG and the nation at large what the local government are doing. So it's a surprising statement that Obiakpo is being added as one of those ineptute legislative arm that have not done anything.
All right, thank you very much. We got that. I thought you were talking about something else here. I hear something completely different about Obiakpo.
Executive bill. Talk about that no local government chairman has been able to move an executive bill. I mean, any bill that I challenge them in Nigeria. So I remember he sent me about Obiakpo. So
do you know what? Tell him he should take time. He should take out time. Now what he did now was it was too shallow. It won't work. Calling wouldn't work. You should either take out time, come on the studio, and explain and propose this thing. We've got to go. We have to go. The news update comes up next. There's not even time. Wari Chimenem, Esquire, spokesman appraisal for good governance in Nigeria, legal advisor, Pandem Obiakpo chapter. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All
thank
right,
you. People of Obiakpo are happy with
Emmanuel, okay, go ahead.
Let the legislators and the executive head to court for interpretation.
All right, then, Emmanuel, thank you so much. The news, world news comes up immediately. Please stay with us.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today 95.1 FM.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Hello and good afternoon. This is the World News on your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. I am Annie Abdul Salam. In the headlines, Federal Executive Council approves over 50 billion naira for roads and aviation projects across Nigeria. Former chairman of defunct pension reform task team, Abdurrashid Mainak, collapses in court. Rivers State government gets approval for establishment of 15 Merdila refineries. And on the foreign scene, Mozambican government opposes call to arm civilians to combat Islamist insurgents. And now the details. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved 59.350 billion naira for roads and aviation projects across the country. This was made known by Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, after the FEC meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. Fashola said his memorandum was on 2 contracts valued at 50.858 billion naira. Bello also said the FEC approved 2 contract augmentations, both on roads for his ministry. On his part, Lai Mohammed reported on the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika's presentation to the FEC on more than 700 billion contracts. Mohammed said the contracts are for the expansion of the Maiduguri Airport's apron and the insurance of 22 airport facilities across the country. Also, the FEC granted ratification for the Nigerian Road Safety Strategy 2, which is designed to reduce road accidents and make traveling safe across Nigeria. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has assured that the National Assembly will pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill by the first quarter of 2021. Lawan gave the assurance that the public hearing on the repeal of the Electoral Act 2010 and enactment of the 2020 Electoral Act. He said the National Assembly will work to make this possible so that the amended 2020 Electoral Act will be tested in early elections to gauge its effectiveness. On his part, former Deputy Senate President Ikekwere Madu, who has chaired previous amendments of the Electoral Act, wants the amendment of electronic voting to be expanded to include electronic transmission of votes. Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, however, pointed out that electronic voting may fail in rural areas and the votes of the people there must be made to count. After a series of deliberations on the bill, the Electoral Act Amended Bill last month scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, says the National Assembly has no constitutional power to summon President Muhammadu Buhari. Malami disclosed this in a statement titled Buhari's Summon, NAS operates outside constitutional bounds. The AGF said National Assembly has no constitutional power to envisage or contemplate a situation where the President will be summoned by the National Assembly on the operational use of the armed forces. He also noted that the right of the President to engage the National Assembly and appear before it is inherently discretionary in the President and not at the behest of the National Assembly. Members of the House of Representatives on December 1st passed a resolution to invite President Buhari to brief the House on the true state of the security situation in the country. The decision to summon President Buhari was taken at plenary when the House considered a motion moved by the members from Borno State on the recent massacre of 43 rice farmers in the state by Boko Haram insurgents. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila has turned down the motion to admit President Muhammadu Buhari into the chamber after it became clear that the president will not honor the invitation. Contrary to the conventional legislative practice, the motion titled Admittance into the Chamber slated on the order paper, which should have been sponsored by Honorable Garba Al-Hassan Ado to suspend relevant House rules, was not entertained by the Speaker. The motion provides that the House, pursuant to Order 19, Rule 8 of the Standing Orders, do admit into the chambers the ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the service chiefs and other dignitaries for the purpose of receiving an address by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the security situation in the country. It was gathered that the President's change of mind may not be unconnected to an alleged plot by the People's Democratic Party PDP caucus to embarrass him. The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mohammed Umar Abba, has called for the deepening of cooperation among anti-corruption agencies in the country towards improved outcomes in the fight against corruption. Umar Abba made the call in a webinar hosted by the Interagency Task Team of Anti-Corruption Agencies in the country to mark this year's International Anti-Corruption Day. Speaking on the theme, United Against Corruption, Recover with Integrity, the EFCC boss noted that the continuous evolution of new economic and financial crimes and the insatiable appetite for corruption in both the private and public spheres call for more unity of purpose and cooperation among the nation's anti-graft agencies in the pursuit of the goals of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. The former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdurrashid Maina, has collapsed in court. The federal government is prosecuting Maina on a 12-count charge of fraud and money laundering before a federal high court sitting in Abuja. The former pension boss collapsed when his counsel, Anayo Adibe, was addressing the court on his no-case submission before Justice Okon Abang. Before Maina's collapse, his counsel was praying the court for an adjournment to enable him get records of the proceedings of the court, which will enable him prepare for the no-case submission he intends to file on behalf of his client. The court had to rise abruptly to enable officials of the Correctional Service and Relations of the former pension boss attend to him. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has directed mobile network operators to immediately suspend the sale and activation of new SIM cards to allow an audit of the subscriber registration database. Director of Public Affairs of NCC, Ikechukwu Adinde, in a statement said it was necessary for operators to comply with the audit exercise had been concluded. Adinde said the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, had directed the Commission to embark on an audit of the subscriber registration database. He, however, said an exemption might be granted following approval from the federal government through the Commission. Adinde further warned that non-compliance with the directive will be met with strict sanctions, including the possibility of the withdrawal of operating license. Meanwhile, the federal government has announced that the price of data has been reduced by more than 50%, following a directive that the Nigerian Communications Commission's NCC should put in place measures to that effect. The announcement followed the report the Nigerian Communications Commission submitted to the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, in Abuja. Pantami, who made this known, said it was in line with the directive he gave to the regulatory agency, NCC, to put measures in place to reduce the average cost of data in the country. The minister also assured that policies were in place to ensure that operators adopt competitive pricing that eschew unjustifiable margins. He noted that complaints about rapid data depletion were also being investigated. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has said the union is yet to reach any agreement with the federal government to suspend its industrial action. ASU President Biodu Ogunyemi, who disclosed this in a statement, said there is nothing in the government's offer to suggest the end of the over 8-month strike. The statement also said the leadership of ASU had made it clear to the government officials that the union's representatives have no mandate to take a final decision on any strike action by the union. The union's leadership stance on the prolonged strike followed media reports from the Labour Minister, Chris Ngige, that ASU had promised to suspend the strike on December 9th. The president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Sunday Asefo, has vowed to shut down all private universities in the country should the 9-month strike embarked on by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities continue. The NANS president lamented that the ongoing strike is the longest industrial actions. Foreign and sports stories. Stay with us.
Every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the World News here on Today 95.1 FM. It's 10 minutes after 12. The Rivers State government says it has secured an approval for the establishment of 15 Merdila refineries. The Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Peter Midi, who made the disclosure in an interview with our correspondent, said the approval by National Council on Hydrocarbon followed a request by the state government. Midi said his ministry is now in talks with possible investors who would aid in the building of the Merdila refineries.
So we got that approval. Also in that meeting, the National Council on Hydrocarbon has also approved the authorization of feedstock guarantee for the feeding of the Modular refinery in Rivers State. And we got approval to build 15 Modular refineries in Rivers State, not just one. So the ministry is actually working very hard. As we speak, we are talking to investors because, government may not be able to have the money to build the refinery. What we are trying to do is to ensure that we get the investors that will bring the money to build the refinery. What the ministry can do is to see that we put investors that will be able to bring their money to come and build.
The commissioner also noted that the state government has secured the release of feedstock from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, which will be used by the Merdila refineries. A Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has sacked the paramount ruler of Ubima community in Ikoyi local government area of Rivers State, Eze Ihangi William, for being illegally installed and recognized by the state government. Justice IPC Igwe, in the judgment on the matter, brought the claimant, Eze Michael Dikewoha, faulted the Rivers State government for issuing certificate of office and recognition even when the matter was the subject of court. Justice Igwe also dismissed the claims of the claimant, Eze Michael Dikewoha, and Christopher Oka, who is third defendant, and Umo Obunwo family, who were fourth to seventh defendants in the suit, who were seeking declaration of the court to become the paramount ruler of the community. Our correspondent, Uchendu Ejiowo, reports that the judge, while dismissing the claimant's requests, ordered that the three families of Umwa Hiome, Umwa Hua, and Umwa Bunwo to to go back and nominate a suitable candidate for recognition and installation into the Nyeali Ubima Council, who is representing Omo family, who are 4th to 7th defendants in the matter. Winston Churchill Madume, who spoke to our correspondent outside the court, said he will study the judgment and inform his clients on the next line of action.
All the parties were asking for the court to declare them as the ruler of the community. But in summary today, the court in its wisdom decided to dismiss the claim of the claimant and also dismiss the counterclaims of both the third defendant and the 4th to 7th defendants, and instructed parties to go home and within themselves select or appoint a favorable candidate that will emerge as the ruler of the community. Buying the appointment of the River State government of Mr. Ihanye Williams as the ruler of the community right now. So by virtue of the order of court, it means the appointment of Mr. Ihanye is a nullity right now.
Before the resumption of the judgment, a counsel, CAE Obisike, who appeared for the paramount ruler, Eze Ihanye Williams, sought to join in the matter but was refused by the court. Other defendants in the suit include the River State government through the Attorney General as first defendant and State Council of Traditional Rulers as second defendant. In the meantime, the River State Judiciary says it is taking steps to resolve and eliminate the issue of affidavits racketeering in the state judiciary. In a statement by the Judiciary Management, all affidavits sworn at all registries of the State Judiciary High Court and Magistrate are now to be processed and issued electronically. The statement enjoined the general public and all public and private institutions to be informed that e-affidavits now have unique identification numbers and passport photograph of the deponent. It further advised that the e-affidavits should be accepted as validly issued, urging that all other forms of affidavits should be seen as not genuine, stating that all those with old affidavits are encouraged to regularize affidavits to the e-affidavits on the River State Management Information System site. As the leadership of the All Progressive Congress moves to reorganize the party, some members of the APC have filed a fresh suit in court to stop the planned membership revalidation and registration in River State. This comes despite warnings by the National Executive Committee of the APC to members to withdraw all litigations against the party. The applicants Sunday Hawkins, Julius Mbugere, Lucky Nweke, Florence Deer, and Anthony Nwauche said there should be no registration of new members into the APC in the state until the matters in court have been disposed of. Presiding Judge Justice L. Ngbo Abina therefore ordered the applicants to put the defendants on notice and serve the APC by substituted means. The matter, which is before a River State High Court sitting in Okrika, has been fixed for this Friday, December 11th, for hearing. Earlier, the former State Publicity Secretary of the APC in River State, Chris Finebone, had raised an alarm that there were plans by the River State government and the People's Democratic Party to destabilize the APC nationwide using the courts in River State. Finebone, in a statement, alleged that the government and the PDP want to use the same tendencies within the APC in River State that have been working with the River State government with them to weaken the APC in River State using the state courts. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has called on stakeholders and residents of River State to unite in prayer and hand over the state to God. The chairman of CAN in River State, Apostle Stanley Dimka, said the Thanksgiving service and end-of-year prayer has been put together to enable the people of River State, including political organizations, seek the face of God for the new year. Apostle Stanley Dimka said River State will be dedicated to God during the Thanksgiving and Prayer Summit.
The importance of Thanksgiving cannot be overemphasized. And as Christians, it is very important we appreciate the Almighty God for his show of love and continuous gift of life to us and to our state, particularly protections against deadly COVID-19 that hitherto threaten the peace of our existence worldwide. And not only that, the ensign's protests that took the life of many Nigerians, both innocent youths, police, and soldiers. But in all, we are privileged to be alive and come to the end of the year 2020. It becomes highly imperative that we corporately, as a state, come together to appreciate the Almighty God and thank him for sparing us and keeping us and launching our state into the new year 2021.
Our correspondent reports that this year's Thanksgiving service with the theme Visible Evidence of God's Power will hold at Corpus Christi Cathedral by CFC Junction tomorrow morning. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike is expected to be the guest of honor at the Thanksgiving service. A police officer attached to Operation Sting has allegedly shot and killed a tricycle rider in the early hours of today at Rukwoku in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State. Some tricycle riders who spoke with our correspondent said the police officer had shot the young boy on his chin for refusing to pay the sum of 100 naira. The respondents alleged that more people were allegedly killed by the police, including 2 women, when the angry tricycle riders marched to the Rumokoro police station. Our correspondent Ifunanya Obeme Ndukwe reports that men of the Nigerian police arrived at Rumodumaya and Rukwoku, arresting passers-by and shooting sporadically in the air. A group of angry tricycle riders had earlier this morning blocked some roads in Rumodumaya and Rukwoku areas of the state over the death of one of their members, stopping vehicles from moving, leaving walkers stranded on the road. And on the foreign scene, the government of Mozambique has opposed calls to arm civilians in the gas-rich northern province of Cabo Delgado to combat Islamist insurgents in the region. This followed after residents in the region requested that guns should be given to civilians to help the security forces. Mozambican Prime Minister Carlos Agostinho do Rosario opposed the idea during a security meeting in the province's capital, Pemba. Do Rosario, who said the move will be dangerous and unsustainable, insisted that weapons should be in the hands of the rightful people. In Ghana, the Electoral Commission has announced President Nana Akufo-Addo winner of the just concluded election in the country. Akufo-Addo won a second term after a tightly contested presidential election, beating longtime opponent John Mahama. Akufo-Addo of the center-right New Patriotic Party received over 51% votes, while Mahama of the center-left National Democratic Congress received over 47% of the votes. 62-year-old Mahama and 76-year-old Akufo-Addo are old rivals who have faced off at the ballot box twice in the past. Mahama was president for 4 years until 2016 when he was succeeded by Akufo-Addo. To end the news, here's a summary of the major stories. The Federal Executive Council has approved over 50 billion naira for roads and aviation projects across the country. Former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdurrashid Maina, has collapsed in court. We told you that the Rivers State government has secured an approval for the establishment of 15 modular refineries. On the foreign scene, Mozambican government has opposed calls to arm civilians to combat Islamist insurgents. And that was the news as edited by Stella Sasongo. For comments and inquiries, please call 081-5341-8657 or 081-4434-3502. Or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. Do not forget, take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap under running water. Avoid touching your face in high contact surfaces to prevent coronavirus. I am Annie Abdusalam. To have a great afternoon.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
You can never plan the future by the past. He who has a right to live can bear almost anyhow. Lost time is never found again. It is the province of knowledge to speak, and it is the privilege of wisdom to listen. I don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. In the end. It is not the years in your life that counts. It is the life in your years. Make it count with us. Make it count with us at Today 95.1 FM. 95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
You